Dear Prime Minister of Fiji, dear First Vice President of the European Parliament, dear Minister of Foreign Affairs from Timor-Leste, dear President of the External Affairs Committee in the European Parliament, dear Ministers, dear Secretary Generals, my friend George Rebelo Chicote, Secretary General of the Organization of the ACP countries, dear ambassadors, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few weeks in the new Samoa Agreement, and just a couple of weeks before we go to Angola for our first OEACP EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly under the new agreement of Samoa, I'm honored and very happy to welcome you here in the European Parliament for the first Pacific Day in the European Union. I know that when you look near the Parliament, don't look a lot at Pacific Day, but it's an open society in work. So our discussions here will enable us to address key issues for our common future. Allow me to mention two themes that I believe are crucial for us all, namely peace and environment. As regards peace, for the European Union is an example of a very successful history over the past 70 years. What our founding fathers created not long after the Second World War was led us to the longest period of peace on the European continent ever. Peace is, of course, a goal in itself, but it is also an excellent base for the construction of a better society. Cooperation with your neighbours, good governance and stability are key conditions for sustainable economic growth that leads to better conditions for all our peoples, for all our citizens. And this is much easier to achieve for a country in peace. The Pacific is of growing geopolitical importance due to its central location in a part of the world where the furthest easterly longitudes neighbour the most westerly. The Pacific is also a strategic partner to the European Union. We are friends that share our interest in multilateralism and a rules-based international order. A remilitarization of the Pacific could result in a history repeating itself. Therefore, the EU should offer to be the doves, not the hanks. Let us together remind the world that development, free and fair trade, dialogue and prosperity are the best ways to preserve peace. Let us leave protectionism and trade wars in the past. The EU should offer a third way, without pressure to choose sides in a seemingly bipolar arena that could risk Pacific countries becoming, and also the EU itself, becoming the collateral of wrestling giants. Friendlies to all, enemy to none, as my friends in the Pacific sometimes say. Unfortunately, it is obvious that the wonderful Pacific Islands are amongst the most vulnerable to the effects of climate change and natural disasters. We are sadly witnessing the growing regional presence and magnitudes of cyclones, floods, earthquakes, tsunamis, and even volcanic eruptions. The Pacific countries are facing an existential reckoning that rises with the tides as you strive to develop a more united and prosperous region for the future generation. And allow me to stress, you would be right to hold us Europeans to account to make sure that we, as one of the region's key development partners, address our own contributions to global climate change. Together, we must ensure that concrete action to stop climate change goes on and increase. This message was delivered loud and clear to me and to other European Parliament members when we meet with our colleagues from the Pacific in a regional meeting in the Solomon Islands last October. At that meeting, we commit to making climate change and its consequences a standing theme in the future plenary sessions of our new Pacific European Union Parliamentary Assembly. that we will meet first in Angola next week. On that note, allow me to wish you a nice and fruitful afternoon in the company of our many excellent speakers. Thank you very much.